Considering an autism diagnosis can be a very sensitive subject for families. In my career, I've worked with hundreds of families and I've seen both sides of acceptance and also hesitancy. In this video, I want to talk about why many families are hesitant to pursue early testing for autism and what the implications are if we don't get early intervention for our kids when we know that they're struggling. I'm Lisa, a child behavior expert and a parent coach. I have over a decade of experience as a pediatric occupational therapist. In my career, I've been very fortunate enough to have had many opportunities working with different families in different settings. I've worked with families in the school setting, directly working with their children. I've worked in clinics where I've interacted with both parent and child on a very intimate basis, and also in their home setting as well. Because of my experience, I've been given a very unique perspective on why families often hesitate to seek for help and specifically seek for a diagnosis and doing testing for autism. The number one reason I hear families hesitate to seek an autism diagnosis is the fear of stigma. So many of the families that I've worked with knew that their child was experiencing challenges. They knew that there was a delay in their social communication skills. There are challenges with emotional regulation, and there may have also been challenges with motor skill development. Many of these families recognize that their child was struggling and was behind their peers. And for, I would say, all of them, they all had great intention. They all wanted the best for their child. But the one thing that really held them back was this fear of a stigma that if their child ended up having an autism diagnosis, that they would be labeled in schools and when they were with friends and family. And this fear is what held them back from pursuing that diagnosis. There was also a fear of the unknown. With autism, it's such a spectrum, and so there's no clear-cut answer of how your child is going to perform and behave in the future. And so with this fear of unknown, a lot of families felt really stuck and afraid to move forward. They were hoping that their child would just outgrow this stage and would pick up in their development, and they wouldn't have to worry about thinking about this. There was also a feeling of overwhelm. When it comes to getting a diagnosis for your child, it's often a very lengthy process, and a lot of involvement is needed in order to pursue this. There can be a very long wait list. In some areas, I've heard that wait lists can be as long as 2 years. And so to be waiting and thinking about, does my child have autism, and really not have any control of when your child can get that testing done can feel so overwhelming and be very uneasy for parents. In addition, the process of testing is also very strenuous. It can be hours long, and when you have a young child, that can feel very, very concerning. When you have a child who struggles to sit for long periods of time and expecting them to sit and do multiple different tasks, it can be a very stressful experience for parents. And parents often think that this is going to cause a lot of disruption in their day. And sometimes with our kids who are struggling, a change in routine can be a very big shift for them, that it takes not just one day to recalibrate. It may take quite a few days or even a week to really get back into their normal groove. So by pursuing testing, this can really throw your child off their schedule, and parents just don't want to go through that. So they might just hesitate and avoid testing altogether. But here's the reality. When you can see that your child has delays or that they are struggling with their behaviors, their emotional regulation, these are things that need intervention. And by simply ignoring the signs will not just make those developmental delays disappear. The research is clear that early intervention is your best key for long-term success. And so when you're seeing challenges in your child, when you notice that they are behind in their peers in terms of development, it's important to seek for early intervention. And oftentimes, to access this early intervention, you need a diagnosis, especially when it comes to funding. So in North America and a lot of parts in the UK, there are some funding options. And in order to access that funding, your child needs that autism diagnosis. So if your child does have autism and is eligible for that funding, that will give you so much access into early intervention. And the thing about early intervention, what it does, it offers the right foundation for your child. And so when we don't give them the help, especially in those early years, the struggles tend to accumulate like a snowball. What we see happening a lot is kids who are struggling from a social communication angle, they struggle to interact with their peers. This starts to create a lot of distance. They don't know how to express themselves, they don't know how to ask for things, and then they often feel isolated. And when your child's not given the right tools and strategies, and the staff and yourself as parents aren't given the right tools on how to help them, this often leads to challenging behaviors later on. And as these challenging behaviors start to arise, it often brings a lot of stress, not only on your child, but in everyone who's involved. And what I've seen in my practice is that kids who did not have early intervention, there was a lot of stress that was happening inside the home. Parental interaction with their child and also between parents, because there wasn't enough education, there wasn't enough external support for the family. And so a lot of stress was happening. And by the time they reached me for intervention, they were already in a very chaotic situation. So if you're watching this and you're currently in that stage, you're not sure if you should pursue a diagnosis or just even testing to see what the results can be, I want you to ask yourself, does my child struggle right now? Are they behind in their development? And I can see that it's causing a lot of problems in their day-to-day life. If the answer is yes to this, the answer is simple. Seeking for help is necessary. Whether it is through a diagnosis or seeking therapeutic help or seeking parent coaching is your key to finding more information that can provide the right support for your child. Though I always encourage the route of early testing, I know that sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to process all this information. So I'm not here to pressure you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to provide you with the information that's going to help you make this decision. But I just want to take a moment to step away from this thing about diagnosis, right? As much as a diagnosis can help you navigate this whole very confusing realm that you're in right now, the thing to really focus on is the challenges. If your child is experiencing challenges with behaviors, emotional regulation, or getting things done in their day-to-day, figuring out what is going to help them today is really going to set them up for better success. That's ultimately what you want to do, because when your child is struggling, this is what impacts their mental health and their overall well-being. And so we want to provide them with support. So your role as a parent is to take control as a captain of their ship. When you see that your child is struggling with something, start looking for the answers that you need. If your child is delayed in their speech, seek support from a speech language pathologist. If your child's having difficulties with their motor skills, seek help from a physio. If your child's having difficulties with fine motor or there are some sensory issues, then seeking occupational therapy support can be very beneficial. Now, the bridge to all this is really yourself. Knowing what to do when your child is struggling in these areas means that you need to start educating yourself, finding the right support systems that's going to help you and guide you through the day-to-day challenges. So when it comes to really difficult behaviors, how to navigate those behaviors, how do you respond in those moments? How do you start teaching emotional regulation skills in the moment? Because the things that your children will learn from these professionals are really valuable tools, but it's the implementation of the strategies that they give you into your daily life is what's most crucial. This is where parent coaching is extremely necessary. A parent coach who has experience knowing how to assess and understand your child's specific needs and also give you the right strategies that fit with your family, that fit with your lifestyle that you can implement on a day-to-day basis and give you the guidance and emotional support along the way. As a parent coach myself, these are things that I highly focus on in my sessions with the parents I work with, because I know how valuable it is to be given that one-on-one guidance to help you out in the really roughest of times. So as you're navigating your child's challenges and you're trying to work your way towards accepting and figuring out what is the next step, remember, you're not alone in this journey. There are people out in the community that can provide you with the support. There are online tools like the ones that I give out right now that are going to help you to make these decisions for yourself and what you feel is best for your family. So my biggest takeaway from all this is that getting your child tested for autism is not about the label. It's not about putting a stigma on them, because what it does, it's offering them the support. It's opening doors for them to receive the help that they need to help them be more successful, to improve different skills that they're struggling with or that they don't have right now in order for them to be successful and thrive. Remember, whether a diagnosis is confirmed or not, the strategies and methods are still going to help your child. They're still relevant for them. And so it's important that you're still advocating and getting the support that they need. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel, and also share this message out with other families that you know that are currently going through the struggle right now in figuring out what to do to support their child. If you have any questions about testing and about early intervention, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.